Okay, so in this example, we're being asked to solve the inequality and write the solution in interval notation. Okay, so in this particular problem, we need to go ahead and solve both of our inequalities, graph it on a number line, and then we'll talk about how to write it in interval notation. Okay, so notice here that we are dealing with a disjunction, meaning we're using the word or, okay? So let's go ahead and just solve both of these inequalities. All right, so doing this one, we're going to add 5 on both sides. Okay, and here we get 2x is greater than or equal to, this will give us 20. And then simply divide both sides by 2, and we get x is greater than or equal to 10. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one. So we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. Here we get 5x is less than or equal to, this is going to give us 5. Again, divide both sides by 5 here, and we're going to get x is less than or equal to 1. Okay, so we can write our solution here. It's going to be x is less than or equal to 1, or right, x is going to be greater than or equal to 10. Okay, so what we want to do here is go ahead and put this on a number line. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll just say that this is 0, this will be 10, and we'll say this is 1. Okay, so looking at our inequality, we can see that, well, it's going to be a closed circle because it's equal to. So we're going to go on 1 and make a closed circle. We're going to go on 10, also make a closed circle because it's equal to. And then we're just going to do our shading. So it says x is less than or equal to 1, so that means we're going in this direction. And then here, right, x is greater than or equal to 10, so we're going in this direction. Okay, now here comes the part where we need to write our solution in interval notation. So we're going to do this by using our number line, and notice that we're going from left to right. All right, so when you do this, you always want to go left to right. So I'm going from negative infinity to 1. So to show that in interval notation, you're going to use parentheses. Now, what this parenthesis indicates is that you're going right up to negative infinity, but you are not on it, right? Because you can't be on negative infinity, you can go right up to it. So that's what the parenthesis indicates. So I'm going to put negative infinity, and then comma, meaning 2, 1. Now notice here, it's equal to, it's a closed circle. So I'm not going to put a parenthesis here, because that would indicate that I'm going right up to 1, but not on it. In this case, I'm on 1, so instead of using a parenthesis, I'm going to use a bracket. This indicates I'm right on it. Okay, so notice the difference between the two. And now look what we have here. We have this space, and then we go to our next solution. So to indicate that space, we use something called a union. And you just put it in like this, just like a U. It's called a union, all right? That indicates a space in between your solutions. And then we're going from 10 to infinity. Now again, I'm right on 10, so I'm going to use a bracket, then put 10, comma meaning 2, infinity. Now again, you cannot be on infinity. You can go up to it, but you can't be on it. So we don't want to put a bracket here. We're going to put a parenthesis indicating that we're going right up to it. Okay? So here's your solution here in interval notation. All right, let's try another example. Okay, so here's our next example, and notice here, okay, we're dealing with a conjunction, meaning we're using and, okay, as our separator. In the previous example, we had a disjunction, meaning we're using or as our separator, okay? So this is a conjunction, and when we solve these, right, it's fairly simple. We're just going to subtract 5, okay, on both sides of our inequalities, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So this will cancel. We're going to get 0, bring down our inequality. Here's 5x. Bring down our inequality. This will give us 10, okay? Now simply divide by 5. Again, you want to do this on both sides of your inequalities. This will give us 0, right? Bring down your inequality. This will just give us x, right? Bring down your inequality. This will give us 2. So we can see here that x has to be greater than or equal to 0 and less than 2. So let's go ahead and graph this on the number line. So we'll say that this is 0, this will be 2. Now notice on 0 it is a closed circle. On 2 it's going to be an open circle. And so again, x has to be greater than or equal to 0 and less than 2, meaning our solution is going to be inside here. Okay, so we're shading inside, or you can draw 2 arrows like that, that's fine. Okay, now we want to write this in interval notation. Okay, so again, you always want to start left to right. So starting left to right, we're going to land on 0. So look, it is equal to, so we're going to use a bracket, meaning we're right on it. And we're going to 2. Now notice, this is not equal to, it's going right up to 2. So I'm going to write 2, but instead of using a bracket, again, I'm going to use a parenthesis indicating that I'm going right up to 2, but not on it. Okay? And this problem is now done. Okay, so here it is in interval notation. Okay, and that is it.